This is your thruster forward and back for the propeller. This is in the forward position. This is in neutral. You can feel it locks there. This is in reverse. Okay. You want to make sure it's in neutral. Here's your ignition. There's an interesting thing. We've got this little device, which is at the end of here, and also at the key, that is supposed to be always in here. Okay. All right. So the point here is that this is supposed to be sort of a kill switch for the boat that you can just pull off and it would kill the switch. So you push the key in, and this device holds it in. The idea is that if that pulls out, or if you're using the other end, this one, and it pulls out, the engine would die. It doesn't actually work, but we still have it here. It isn't an emergency kill as it's supposed to be. Starting the pontoon boat from a cold start. First, visual check. Make sure that the engine is in the water, it is water cooled, it's running. Every minute it's running should be in the water, otherwise we could destroy the engine. Alright, now we come back to the key. First thing, turn the key to the right, and you can push it a couple times. You can hear a click behind you in the engine when you push it. That's priming the engine. Then we start. If you push this button down and slide forward, you're not engaging the motor. You are simply leaving it in neutral and running the engine a little bit. That's holding this button down simultaneously before taking this out of neutral. Then you can run the motor to make sure it's warmed up before you start running. And again, put it back in neutral. Now if you push it forward without pushing this button, we're going to make the boat go forward. Okay, so there's two batteries in the pontoon boat. One is in this new battery case, which we got part of our electrical upgrade over the winter and spring, and this is the one that is charged when the engine is running, theoretically. All right. The second one is here. This battery does not charge from the engine. It actually needs to be pulled out and put on the charger, just like the one from the tin can. It also has a fuse here. So there's a fuse in there, and there's a spare fuse here. The spare fuse is burned out because when I first turned this on and tried to run the trolling motor with it, it immediately burned out. This was a 20 amp fuse in here. The spare was a 40 amp fuse, which is what's now in here. I don't know what we should actually use. I'm just saying this is a place to look for a problem if things aren't working off of the ancillary battery. Okay, so the captain is appropriate in the captain's chair. We're demonstrating the use of the trim switch. He's got his thumb on the switch now. The motor is in the up position, so I want you to push it down. Push it down, Dad. He's pushing it down, and the motor goes down. Trim up. Trim down. Push it up, and the motor goes up. This is Dad's Christmas gift, of course, his Christmas and Hanukkah gift. And my view is the motor should be in the up position when not in use. Okay, push it down again, Dad. Stop. As the water sits right now, we've barely got enough clearance with the motor not all the way down in the trim position, all the way down, not quite all the way down, but the propeller is covered. So you could drive it in and leave it down with this much water in the bay. thought this would be a good time for a little tutorial on the trolling motor. And what you can see here, it's in the water. There's a foot pedal right here. That white button causes the propeller to turn. So now the propeller is turning. I don't know if you can see that underwater there. I think you can. And by moving the pedal like this, the propeller turns underwater to either go forward or backwards. And you can also tell the direction by the arrow on the top of the motor. Come off the right button, the propeller stops. So we're here in Jacobson's Bay. We're going to hybrid out of the electric out of the shallows here in Jacobson Bay, and we're quite shallow. We may have to do a few more casts here. We may have to do a few more casts. Go back to where the weeds end again. Here we see cigarette lighter works, and this piece of trade show paraphernalia will be my contribution to the boat. Plug it in here. It actually lights up there, so you actually have power there for all of your devices. So this is the live well. One of the things that we believe is powered by the battery and was fixed as a part of the electrical system. Little project for anybody who wants to kind of fix the upholstery on the lid of this thing. There's a broken hinge. That'd be a good project for somebody over the summer if anybody wants to work on that. So the question here is what we had to do here. And what I want to show you here is this piece was the plug that goes into the live well and keeps it from draining if the water's running in. So we've got a hole down here, and this goes in here. Jury rigged a fix to this, which is the bottom of this was all rubber grommet that had all dried out and crumbled and was worthless in terms of a plug. So we bought something that was approximately the right size, a hose coupling, glued it with silicone glue to the bottom of this, and I'm going to use plumber's tape, pipe tape, plumber's tape, see if we can get a decent seal. It's a stretchy tape, this plumber's tape, if you're not familiar with it, pipe tape, and just pulled enough of it around there to give what I think should be enough of a seal, and it's not sticky at all. It just stretches and sticks and pull enough of it on there. So the idea is that goes right here, and we'll see if that's enough. May not be to hold water. Right here, this bottom button is what controls the water and aerator in the live well. So on the right side and left side, you can hear a noise there. That's the aerator. It's supposed to keep bubbling. And on the right side is the pump that fills it with water. So we're just going to push that. And again, this is running off the auxiliary battery, and let's see if it's working. There we go. You see water is running into the live well. Not sure if you good seal there. So what we're going to do, and our jury rig plug at least appears to be holding right now. So what I've learned is that this pump cuts off after every time you push the button. I don't know, haven't timed it, about a minute or so, and then it cuts off. So this is the third cycle, and what we're about to do is reach the top of our plug, which I'm assuming is a fail-safe so that we don't be pouring over the top. There should be the limit right here about how high it goes, at which point things will start draining down into over the top. And so here we are about 4 hours later, and the well is still filled, so this is working just fine. Again, one more clarification here. On this bottom button, this is the pump on the right side, and on the left side is the aerator. So while you've got fish in here, you can circulate the water and it will aerate for your fish. I'll turn that off. Back one more time. To drain it, you do actually need to simply pull this out, and now your live well is draining. This plumber's tape will probably need to be refreshed regularly to keep a good seal. That's it for the live well. So let's talk about the sunshade here, which I have in the folded back position right now. I have this looped around, and this is the way it should be used, this little strap, when we're not using the sunshade, and it should be folded down. Keep in mind the sunshade is like a giant sail, so if you leave it up, it's going to be catching the winds. We get big winds in the UP, and no telling what kind of damage could happen in the middle of the night with the sunshade up with a big wind. So kind of keep this down most of the time. Alright, then, and when it's down, use the straps to protect it. Put it up. Once the strap is up, and you can just pull the thing up, pull it forward, just slides forward, pulls back, pulls forward. Pretty simple. And keep it from getting blown away in the wind. Make sure the straps are fastened. Simple enough. So this is how I've got the boat tied to the dock. There are 3 lines, and we've got the bow line going to the 4th pole, and then stern line going to the corner. The stern line's actually coming off of the middle of the pontoon boat here. And then there's a 3rd line, which I just consider a safety. The others have a problem, which I just keep looped over here. Now, the interesting thing for us is that this is a big, heavy boat that the wind moves quite a bit, catches a lot of wind, and it may be more boat than our dock is really capable of handling in a strong wind. Something just to watch. The other thing is this center line I don't really trust that much on this pole, because this pole seems to move quite a bit on the base, and so just something again to keep in mind and look for when the pontoon boats here. Make sure that the poles you got it attached to are holding well, and use all 3. The other thing are these bumpers. The water actually came up with the rain, And whereas the bumpers were protecting the boat, pretty well. Now we're almost above the level of the bumpers, so they need to probably be lowered down, and so that to make sure that we're protecting the boat and the dock. Okay, this should be easy. Dad wants you to make sure you know how to lock the gate. Goes here, you lift and slide, and then it drops right into place. Now it's locked.